Hi everybody, Jo here. Thanks so much for popping in. I hope you're keeping well and I hope you're enjoying all the fabulous samples and the designs that the creatives here at Lavinia have come up with using this new collection. Fabulous stamps. I got so excited when I saw them, got so giddy. You know I love my florals. Well, you know, we're all a bit different, but I do love my florals and sunflowers, such happy stamps. So, I've got to be honest, this was the first design I came up with. I just couldn't wait to have a play. And using the beautiful sunflower with our lovely Herbalums. Because after all, they don't just grow herbs, they grow sunflowers. And I was looking, just have a look at all the different Lavinia stamps you've got and see. I wanted to just put something different for a pot. We've got so many different stamps that could be used as a pot. So, you know, put your thinking cap on and I'd love to see what's your sunflower going to be growing out of. There's a little challenge for you. Honestly, can't wait to see. So this starts as a piece of multifarious card and it's 5.5 inches square. Now, you know me, copy paper just makes me feel better about my stamping, but that's just me. Now, the Cauldron, it's actually off the Bubbling Cauldron set, and I just thought it would be nice to use something different. Nocturne, the black Versafine Clair. So I'm just going to give it a good inking. Then I'm going to stamp it sort of in the middle, about here. And again, give that ink a couple of seconds to soak in and lift it up beautiful. And then for our Herbalums, I've gone for, first of all, I wanted to use Bob. He's got the watering can. I thought he would water the sunflower beautifully. Now, a little tip here. Try and keep your card as clean as possible. You know, we all know we can add an emergency butterfly, but really if we can try and keep it clean, watch with your blocks. If you're not careful, you get in the habit of leaning them on your card, and then one day you'll find there's a mark on there and it goes on your card. And it's bound to be at the end of a design that you're really pleased with. Because, well, that's what happens with me anyway. So I'm trying to minimise the chance of that happening. So we'll just stamp him, and I want to put him sort of so his feet are sort of level-ish with the Cauldron. So we'll put him there. And again, he's a silhouette, so just give that ink time to soak in. Now, I'd love to know, what's your favourite stamp out of this collection? Are you like me? I look at them, you know, and I have a favourite. And then when I start playing, quite often that changes to another favourite. And then it's often a couple of weeks later that another one becomes my favourite. It is strange. And or do you tend to have one that you love and you stay with that one? Because as I say, we are all different. I know I've done workshops and sometimes ladies have been, oh, this is my favourite stamp. And then we use other ones and they suddenly go, I didn't think I'd like this, but now I've used it and I've seen how many ways we can use it. I love it. But I love that because that's sort of a bit of a sneaky thing that catches up on you. And if Mr. Mojo's gone, it's lovely because it entices him back. Now, I think this one is Herbalum Baz. He's the one with the fork. But you know me with my names. And I just thought watering can one side, fork the other. So, and again, give that ink time to soak in. Lovely. Now for our sunflower. Now, it might be that you've already got a mask for your Cauldron. But you know what? I'm just going to use a piece of copy paper. I didn't have one ready made. Now, the sunflower, we do have sunflower 1 and sunflower 2. And in my head, I'm going to remember 2 has got 2 leaves on it. And that's my way of trying to remember. As I say, I'm a bit of a tinker trying to remember names. So with this sunflower, I want to get it sort of in the middle of the Cauldron. So if I pop it about, growing at a nice angle, there, I'm going to go for there. And again, give that ink time to soak in and then lift it up. Just going to put the lid on my ink pad. Really good habit to get into. Now, if you look, we were lucky. We've actually got that stem beautifully in the Cauldron, but if we hadn't, black fine liner pen, draw it on, and nobody would ever know, because do you know what? I won't tell them. So we'll give that a blot. Versafine Clair, slower drying ink, so try and get in the habit of giving your work a blot. And then we're going to add the landscaping, and we need our mini hill mask. And again, I just turn my work to my side and I'm coming in with Pixie Green. If you haven't managed to get Pixie Green, and again, if you missed out on the new colours, as soon as they get here, there will be lots of posts on social media, emails and things, so do sign up for the email. But we will let you know. If you haven't got it, any of your greens, I would go for a darker one like a Bermuda or an olive. And just put our mask, just so we get sort of all three. And we'll start in the middle under the Cauldron. And I always start under an object, so either of our Herbalums or the Cauldron, because your ink's the darkest and that will instantly give you a little bit of shadow. And I don't want to go right to the bottom. I don't want it to be almost like solid, this green colour. I just want a nice mixture here. Nice bit of tone. If I'm not sure, I can lift it up. Yeah, happy with that. Pop the lid on. Even if I just turn that round to show you, see what I mean? We've instantly got that little bit of shadow starting to build up. Now, I'm going to put my stencil on next, but I want to almost spotlight my sunflower. So I'm going to use my circle mask. And I just think that, oh, there we go, we can get the leaves in, look. And then I've gone for the Stencil Flurry because I love the idea of the leaves. And I know I'm doing blue for the sky, but you know, this is a magical place and leaves do fall down from the sky. I know you're going to tell me they're not blue, but as I say, magical place in my head. Mermaid. And again, always a dab and then blend in the lid. And I'm just going to start around where the circle mask is and just hold this in place. And I just want to add some nice light stenciling. So hold your brush on the metal part and gently, gently just tickle. Now you might have to move your hand a bit, but that's fine. Again, and then just come out to the edges. I don't want to go right to the edge, so again I can lift up, have a look. Oh, a little bit more there. But I just want this to be in the background. And I don't want to go over the green. You could have put your mini hill mask back on there if you worried that you'd go over the green, but I'm sure you won't. Lift that off. And look. And it just gives us that spotlight. Now this I'm going to spritz later and add that into my journal. And I'll just show you. So yesterday when I created my original one, that was my spritzing. And I love that. I can't wait. I can't even decide. I think I might put it that way. So I'm going to stamp that up later. So just get your offcuts ready. So anytime you use your stencil, and that ink will be fine on there until I've finished. I can spritz it, reactivate it, and I'll get myself another one of those. So I'm going to file that on the floor next to Eric, ready for later. And then we can add some colour. So I'm going to come in with my Mondelez pencils. And we've got number 3, number 5, 22, 25, 29, 31, 36 and 170. And I'm just going to do a bit of Joe's sort of colouring, so you know what this is like. And again, I'm just going to do my sort of colours, so I'm not exactly sure. I didn't look up. And I know when we've had the sunflowers in the garden, the boys bring the seeds home from school, the grandchildren, and they always end up at grandma's. There's all different sorts of sunflowers. Some are very red, some are very yellow. So I'm just going to go for yellows and browns, look here. And then I'm going to come in with my orange. Now, you know me, this is my sort of colouring. I'm just going to almost colour for effect. But these are beautiful and you could spend ages doing proper beautiful colouring. I'm just doing a bit of a quick colour. So I'm putting orange down as a base look. Then I'm going to come in with my red and just add a little bit of reddy tones. Not all the way around so it's the same, just in a few. And then with my yellow, I'm going to go over the whole top. I like to come in with my lighter colour last because I feel it blends the other colours together. Now I'm going to do some wink of colouring. So I'm going to use my clear wink of Stella to blend. Obviously you could use water. But also, in my opinion, you don't have to use anything. These are such good quality pencils that you could just leave it. And I'll show you before I add the wink of Stella. Just remind me, because honestly, my head, I'll forget. What I do want to add is I'm just going to come in with the black. And where Tracy's given us this dark bit here, look, it just adds a little bit of drama if you just add a little bit more black look. And just down a couple of the, helps with the shadows. But if I lift that up, look, in my opinion, I think, just let the camera give it time to catch up because it thinks, oh, it's a bit close there. But I just think that colouring's beautiful. Obviously, I like to add the wink of Stella because I like a bit of sparkle, but you could leave it like that. So I'm going to come in with my darker green just for the stem and then down the middle of the veins on the leaves. And then with the lighter green, and again, I'm just good habit, leaning on my kitchen roll. And again, I don't need to colour right to the edge because my wink of Stella will do that for me. So onto the cauldron, and I'll add a little bit of yellow, a little bit of dark brown, and then a little bit of the beige. And I think we'll call it a day with that. So wink of Stella clear, and I just write on the side because check it is clear, yes. And we'll start with the lovely yellow in the middle. And then I'm going to just come in from the edges of the flower. And honestly, this really brings the colours to life, but also it adds that gorgeous sparkle. And then work my way in to bring that red. Then I'm just going to clean because I've got a little bit of the red on there. But then it just goes back to clear. So onto the cauldron now, to the brown. Again, clean that. And then onto the green. And look how it just drags that colour. And if you're worried about getting lines with your pencils or there being a hard edge between a dark colour and a light colour, it's so forgiving using your wink of Stella. Right, and that's back clear. And then that, I just think for me, some quick colouring, and that's beautiful. So, a little bit of shade now, and some highlights. So, pastel pencils. Again, I'm just going to add, and I'm taking almost like the sun rays, as it were, coming from the sunflower. So I'm just going my shadow in the middle. I'm going to go as pretty straight. And then on my Herbalums, I'm just going to angle it slightly. A little bit of shadow there from the watering can. And here we'll go this way. So again, biodegradable cotton bud. You can use your finger, but again, I'm trying to keep as clean as possible. So I just find smudging it, I think the shadow looks nicer, but also it will fix it. So you don't need a spray fixative. We're not using a lot of pastel. If we did the whole work in pastel, we would, but for this amount, we don't. And then we'll add some white highlights. So again, I'm just going to come from this side. The white I tend to smudge using my finger. The white I don't mind on me, it's the black. And I'm just going to add a little bit of shape. Nice jacket there. Down his trousers, just the front of his shoes. And then on the opposite side, again, down this side of his hat. And the jacket could go up there if we wanted. And again, it's these things that just add a little bit to the design. Makes it look much more 3D. But for me, what makes it look even better is the white, the Signo, the Uniball. Now, the Wink of Stella, I've got to be honest, it will show up better if it's dry. So mine may not show up, but we'll give it a go. So I'm just adding a couple of little bits. I'm not going to overplay it with the white. Mona's fabulous with the white pen. Doesn't play well for me, which is why I use the pastels. But I am just going to add some dots on here. And then just a couple catch. I don't want to overdo it, but just a couple so we get those lovely highlights on the leaves. As I say, the white won't show up that well because the Wink of Stella's still wet. But I'm hoping you can see a little bit on there. It just adds. And then finally, I'm going to add one of our lovely sentiment stickers. And on my original, I've put Love Nature. But I'm going to put, we've got Sunbeam. Look, I've not got many left. I was going to hide that from you. But it's on my list. Every time I go to Lavinia, the Dreamatorium, I have a list. And I do need another pack. And remember, you get all 3 colours in the pack. The black, the white and the buff. Or the vintage. Vintage sounds better, doesn't it? So lastly, I want to add some of my lovely yellow sparkle, just dots, but I want to put the splats only around the sunflower. So the best way to do this is get your circle mask, but the outy bit. And I'm just going to put that on, shake, and if I just direct this, there we go. Now you could put them over the whole design if you want. I just want them there. Carefully lift that off. And then there we go. Our beautiful Herbalums. I've got another gorgeous sunflower. Now you could have more than one sunflower growing. And as I say, I can't wait to see you creative, lovely people, what you are going to come up with, where you are going to plant your sunflowers. Now, will they fit in the boot? You know, the boot stamp, I'm just thinking. I'm trying to think of all the places that you could get a seed that might just grow. Anyway, I'll leave that thought with you. Thanks so much for popping in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun and be kind to each other. Love and hugs from me. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.